When I hit 30, I figured I'd throw myself a little celebration. Nothing fancy, just a chill night with some family, a few drinks, and maybe a laugh or two to mark the occasion. I rented out a cozy lounge at a bar, picked up a decent cake, and sent out the invites. As the hours ticked by, I kept checking my phone, hoping for something. At 7 o'clock, still quiet. By 8 o'clock, no updates. When 9 o'clock rolled around and I was still sitting alone, it finally sunk in, nobody was coming. The bartender shot me a sympathetic look and asked, "You good, man?" I gave him a weak chuckle. "Yeah, guess everyone's just running late." He nodded, slid a whiskey across the bar toward me, and said, "This one's on the house." I thanked him, cut a small piece of cake just so I didn't look completely pathetic, and sat there eating it by myself, pretending I didn't notice the looks people were throwing my way. Around 10 o'clock, I gave up. Packed up the untouched cake, left a tip, and walked home with a lump in my throat and 100 questions circling my head. Had I said something wrong? Missed a joke? What did I do? A week later, right in the middle of a Zoom call at work, my phone buzzed with a group message. It was from my mom. I checked it out, expecting maybe a late birthday wish or something remotely thoughtful. Instead, I read, "Hey family, your dad's turning 50 soon. We're throwing a big bash at Lakeside Resort. Gonna be an unforgettable night, $1,800 per person. Please Venmo me by Friday. Love you all." I just stared at the screen. Was this for real? Not a single word about my birthday. No apology for ghosting my party. Just a casual request, no expectation for almost $2,000. Then my sister replied, bubbly as ever. "Already sent. Can't wait, Mom. Dad's gonna be thrilled." My brother chimed in right after. "Same here. It's gonna be epic." Something inside me cracked a little. I didn't even get a happy birthday, but now they're all ready to drop big money for Dad's resort party like I didn't exist. I thought about calling them out, but instead I pulled up Venmo, sent $1, and wrote a simple message, "Congratulations." Then I changed the locks on my front door, blocked every number in our family group chat, and sat back feeling strangely relieved. 2 days of peace. Total silence. I thought maybe, just maybe, they understood. Then came the bank alert. Someone had tried to access the joint account I shared with my sister. I almost laughed. Of course they did. I logged in, shut the account down, and moved the leftover cash into a new one only I could touch. Right after, my sister tried calling from some random number. I let it ring. On the third night, just as I was settling into a movie, I heard a sharp knock at the door. Not just a knock, more like someone trying to summon the dead. I peeked through the peephole. 2 cops. I cracked the door open, cautious. "Can I help you?" The taller one cleared his throat. "Are you Joshua?" "Yeah," I said slowly. "But I'm not missing." He glanced at the other officer who was flipping through a little notepad. "Your family filed a missing person report. Said they haven't been able to get in touch for a few days. They're concerned." I let out a dry, bitter laugh. "Did they mention I blocked them?" The officers exchanged a look. The tall one asked gently, "Any reason why?" I rubbed my temples. "They've been trying to mess with my accounts, take money. I blocked them to protect myself." "So, you're okay?" "Just cutting off contact," the shorter officer asked. "Exactly," I said, trying to stay calm. "I'm not missing. I'm just done." They both nodded, seeming relieved this wasn't turning into a bigger issue. "Would you consider giving them a call, just to let them know you're safe?" the taller one asked. I shook my head. "No. If they keep this up, I'll be filing a restraining order." The officers exchanged another glance. "Understood. Just let us know if things escalate." As they started to leave, the taller one paused at the door. "One more thing, Mr. Joshua," he said, his tone a little heavier now. "If your family keeps feeling shut out, they may push this further." I frowned. "Push it how?" "People do wild things when they feel cut off. If they keep calling us or try something else, you should be ready." After they left, I stood frozen in place. This wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. I sat down on the couch, staring at my phone. 2 days of quiet. I thought maybe they'd finally backed off. Then came the buzzing. Unknown number ignored. Another one. Mom declined. Then Dad declined. Then a text lit up the screen. "How could you do this to us? Your father is heartbroken." I tossed the phone onto the couch and tried to breathe. Same guilt trip, same manipulative tone. It was always the same pattern. And I was done with it. Then, bam bam bam, another knock shattered the quiet. I checked the peephole again. "Mom." Her jaw was tight, lips pressed into a cold, thin line. I cracked the door just enough to speak. "Go home." "Oh, now you're hiding?" she snapped. "Your father's falling apart. He thinks you've gone crazy." "I'm perfectly sane," I said, ice in my voice. I've just decided I'm not your personal ATM anymore. Her eyes narrowed. ATM? We're your family, Joshua. She tried pushing the door open, but I held firm. You don't turn your back on family, she hissed. I didn't turn my back, I said, staring her down. I just stopped funding your lifestyle. Her eyes lit up with anger. So this is what it's about now? Money, she said, staring at me like I was a stranger. After everything we've done for you? I couldn't help it, I laughed. Oh, you mean everything like the guilt trips? The endless calls where you needed something? Or how you couldn't bother to say happy birthday but had no shame asking me for nearly $2,000 for some big show for Dad? That's different, she snapped, voice sharp like broken glass. Your father deserves to be celebrated. He's given so much to you. Really? I raised an eyebrow. You mean like how he never once acknowledged my successes? Or how he vanished every Joshua I needed real support? Or maybe how the two of you never had a problem draining my bank account while pretending I didn't exist? Her hand clenched the door frame. Watch your tone, she hissed. You're still my son. I can still What? Guilt me into silence? Twist things until I'm the villain again? That playbook doesn't work on me anymore. At that moment, a car pulled up behind her. Dad's. He stepped out like he'd been rehearsing his look in the mirror, the disappointed father act, full of quiet judgment. Joshua, he said slowly, like he was talking to a child, what are you doing? Why are you acting out like this? I'm standing up for myself. For once. You're turning this into a fight about money, he snapped, his voice no longer calm. Family isn't about counting dollars. It's about giving. Sacrifice. Loyalty. I shook my head, the sting of his hypocrisy hitting hard. No. It's about respect. And you've never shown me any. Respect. Mom laughed bitterly like I'd told a cruel joke. We've done so much for you. And this is how you repay us. Oh yeah, you've done plenty, I said. Like using my money to keep your house, your vacations, Carol's over-the-top wedding, Brian's tuition, and yet not one of you could be bothered to show up for my birthday. Not even a phone call. Dad rolled his eyes. It was your 30th. Big deal. Joshua to grow up. Exactly, I said. I'm grown now. And I'm done being your damn wallet. He stepped closer, lowering his voice like it made him sound wiser. We raised you, Joshua. Fed you. Got you through college. You wouldn't be where you are without us. You owe us. I met his stare without flinching. I don't owe you anything. Not money. Not Joshua. Not one more ounce of myself. Mom's voice cracked, suddenly softer like that would sway me. You're tearing this family apart. No, I said, calmer now. I'm just finally stopping you from tearing me apart. Another car pulled up, tires crunching the driveway. It was Carol. She stormed out of the car like she was charging into battle. You happy now? She yelled. Mom's been crying all morning. Dad's blood pressure is through the roof. I rolled my eyes. Come on, Carol. Spare me the theatrics. This is what you all do, pretend to fall apart whenever I stop giving you everything you want. You're such a selfish prick, she spat. You always think you're better than us. No, I said evenly. I just finally understand I deserve better than this. Fine. Go be alone, she screamed. Let's go, she barked to our parents. Let him rot. They turned to leave, but Mom spun around one last Joshua, rage twisting her face. You'll regret this someday, Joshua. You'll come crawling back, begging us to forgive you. I gave her a dry smile. Don't wait up. The tires screeched, fading down the street. What followed was a heavy, aching silence. It felt like the sky had cleared after a violent storm, quiet but cold. I leaned against the front door, heart pounding like a war drum. Then my phone buzzed. I almost dismissed it until I saw the notification. Suspicious login attempt detected on your bank account. My stomach dropped. They were already trying to break in. Another ping. Password reset requested. They were panicking now. Pushing hard. But they still didn't get it. The harder they pushed, the faster I pushed back. I opened my banking app on instinct. Every account. Every card. Locked tight. Two-factor turned on everywhere. Then I took it a step further. I called the bank directly. This is Joshua. I need to lock down any joint accounts that include my family's names. Are you sure, Mr. Joshua? This will prevent them from accessing any funds at all. That's exactly what I want. Next, I called the mortgage lender. Years ago, I co-signed the loan on my parents' house. One of those please help us, we'll never ask again kind of favors. I hadn't thought about it in years. I need you to put a freeze on any changes to the mortgage under my name, I said. Just so you're aware, sir, that could prevent payments from being processed. Perfect. Right as I ended the call, my phone lit up again. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Then the messages came flooding in. Joshua, stop this. You're blowing everything up. Mom, you don't know what you're doing. You'll regret this. Carol. I didn't reply. They wanted chaos? I'd show them what real chaos looked like. Just then, an email popped up from my lawyer. Joshua, just a heads up. Your family attempted to remortgage the house without your approval. They need your signature. I blocked it, but they may try another way. My jaw clenched. So they weren't just desperate, they were sneaky. Another call. This Josh UAE I picked up. Joshua, Dad said, trying to sound calm, like none of this was personal. We need to talk. Say what you have to say. Why are you doing this? Why freeze the mortgage? Your mother's heartbroken. We're still your family. No. I was your financial plan. And that plan just got canceled. You're hurting everyone, he said, trying to sound reasonable. No, I'm protecting myself. I know about the mortgage scam. I saw the attempt. There was a pause. Then he sighed. We were trying to fix things. You're making it worse. Fix things? I laughed bitterly. Or rob me before I get smart enough to stop you. He went quiet. Then he said it. You're nothing but a burden. I didn't give him the satisfaction of a reply. I just hung up. My hands were trembling, not from fear, but from rage that had been building for years. They thought they could keep bleeding me dry. That I'd just keep taking it. But they were wrong. I called my lawyer immediately. Ronald, I want to sell my share of the house. I want to move fast. That'll force them to either buy you out or put the property on the market. Good. An hour later, the paperwork hit my inbox. There was no room for confusion now, either they paid up or they gave up the house. Then another message lit up on my screen. You really going through with this, Joshua? Carol's text popped up like a flare. You're tearing everything apart. Mom's been crying nonstop. I didn't hesitate. I'm not destroying a damn thing. I'm just finally reclaiming what's mine. An hour passed with radio silence. Then a new message lit up my screen. Fine. You want war? You've got one. I laughed out loud. They honestly thought threats would still work on me. They had no clue who they were dealing with now. I opened my email and began drafting something long overdue. Subject, financial audit, family debts. Body. Ronald. I need a complete breakdown of every financial favor I've extended to my family over the past 5 years. That includes mortgage payments, loan contributions, credit card balances I paid off, school tuition, weddings, emergencies, everything. Please itemize it all with dates and amounts. I want a paper trail. If they wanted to pretend they'd given me everything, I'd hand them a receipt book thick with evidence. But I didn't stop there. I started pulling receipts. Literally. Screenshots. Bank transfers. Old texts. Messages where they begged, manipulated, and guilt me into bailing them out, then turned cold the second they got what they wanted. They thought I'd crumble if they got loud enough. They were about to find out how it feels when someone like me stops bending. Then an angry pounding at the door. I checked the peephole. Carol and my dad. Both looked like they were ready to tear through the wall. Joshua, open up. Dad's voice, thick with fury, barely made it through the door. Go home, I said firmly. You're not welcome here. We need to talk. Carol yelled. You can't just do this. I already did. You think you can ruin us and just walk away? Dad banged on the door again. You think you're clever? He snarled. I'm smarter than you ever gave me credit for, I shot back. Now get off my property before I call the cops. Then silence, heavy, simmering silence. Until Carol, low and venomous, said, You'll see what happens next. They stormed off, and I watched from the window as they argued near the car, flailing hands pointing toward my apartment. A new text landed. This isn't going to end well. I just smiled. They had no idea. For the first Josh UAE in years, I was breathing free air. No guilt. No panic texts. No one hanging their financial failures around my neck like a leash. I poured my Josh UAE into work, finally making headway on all the projects I'd sidelined for their emergencies. I hit the gym again. Reconnected with old friends. The ones who didn't vanish when life got messy. But peace didn't last forever. It started with an email from my lawyer. The house, my share, had been legally separated. But things weren't neat. The property was still sitting under a mountain of debt. And since I'd co-signed that mortgage once upon a Josh UAE, they couldn't fully offload it without my say-so. Instead of looping me in, they tried again to refinance it behind my back. I blocked the attempt. Now they had one option left. Sell the house, pay off the loan, and pay me back. But even that wouldn't square the books. Not by a long shot. The financial audit came in a few days later, and the numbers hit like a hammer. Mortgage payments, $78,000. Dad's car loan, $15,000. Carol's wedding, $22,000. Brian's tuition, $36,000. Miscellaneous, emergency bailouts, $51,000. Total, $202,000. Over 200 grand. And that didn't even count the unspoken cost of years lost to their manipulation. I dropped the audit into the family group chat with one message. I want it all. Every last cent. And that's when the real storm rolled in. Dad called first. You've lost your mind. We're your family. You stopped being my family the moment you started treating me like your private bank. Where do you think we're gonna get that kind of money? I don't care. Sell the house. Sell the cars. Figure it out. You owe me. You'll destroy us. No. I'm just done letting you destroy me. Then came Carol. You selfish bastard. Mom's a wreck. Dad's barely breathing. You proud of yourself? Pay what you owe. Or don't. But I'm done being your insurance policy. Mom called next. Her voice was raw, trembling, full of desperate tears. Joshua, please. We don't have $200,000. Then start selling. Or finally get jobs. We raised you. We gave you everything. No, Mom. I gave you everything. Now it's your turn. Days blurred into weeks. My lawyer kept me posted. The house was listed for a fast sale, but the market was sluggish and the price wouldn't even clear the mortgage, let alone my demand. So they started selling the cars. First Dad's SUV. Then Mom's sedan. Finally Carol's car, the one I helped her buy years ago. Still came up short. I figured they'd give up. But instead, they turned to relatives begging for help and twisting the story. Joshua turned on us. He's trying to ruin our lives. He betrayed the family. Some folks saw through it. Others offered pity loans. Still not enough. Then Dad called again. His voice was barely recognizable, cracked, defeated. Joshua, we sold the house. The cars. We even pawned your mother's jewelry. We're still short. Then keep going, I said. I want every penny. Silence. Then a hollow laugh. You know you're killing us. No. You did that to yourselves the second you decided I was nothing more than a credit card with a pulse. 2 days later, the full amount landed in my account. $202,000. I stared at it for a long moment. Felt the rush. The justice. The closure. But behind that there was a strange, dull emptiness. I'd won. But what exactly had I won? Then Carol texted. You destroyed this family. Mom cries every day. Dad won't speak. We have nothing left. Are you happy now? Yeah, I replied. But of course, they weren't done. Another message from my mother. Joshua, we need to talk. You can't just cut off your family. I didn't cut anyone off. I took back what was mine. Family isn't about money. No. But for you it always was. Not anymore. I blocked her number. Then Dad's. Then Carol's. One by one, I cut the cords. After that, I went back to the family group chat, scrolled all the way to the top, and hit Leave Group. It felt like walking out of a room where I'd been trapped for years. For the first Josh UAE in a long while, there was quiet. Not the kind of silence that buzzes with tension. This was the real kind, still, steady, clean. It wasn't peaceful for them. But for me, it was everything. One last email came through from my lawyer like a final chapter slamming shut. They'd been evicted. No rent payments. No new loans approved. No fallback plan. They were out. The same family that leaned on me to prop up their lives gone from the comfort they once used me to maintain. And honestly, I didn't feel a damn thing. No guilt. No sadness. Just freedom. A deep, still kind of freedom I'd never known. For the first Josh UAE in years, I wasn't anyone's safety net. I wasn't a checkbook in human form. I was just me. The days came slower after that. And quieter. No vibrating phone. No angry texts. No panicked voicemails pretending to be concerned. Just life. I started working again, really working. Not half present, not distracted. Just focused. Even started hitting the gym again. I reached out to old friends, the ones who stuck around without asking for anything. I was rebuilding, but for me this Josh UAE. One night, a coworker asked if I wanted to hit the bowling alley. I hadn't been in years. Used to love it. I said yes without thinking. And for once, I wasn't saying yes out of obligation. It was easy. Natural. The place smelled like beer and waxed floors. Neon lights buzzed above the lanes. Joshua, you're up. Someone called out. I grabbed a ball. Smooth. Familiar, and stepped up. Lined up my shot. Rolled. Strike. Damn, Joshua. You been holding out on us? Someone laughed, clapping me on the back. I actually smiled. A real one. But as I turned to sit, I saw him. 2 lanes down. Hunched over. Hair grayer than I remembered. fumbling with a ball that veered straight into the gutter. He rubbed his face with one hand, looking smaller, older, worn down. It was him, my father. A knot twisted in my chest. I thought about slipping out, pretending I hadn't seen him. But then he looked up, and our eyes met. There it was, shock, then shame, then something heavier, something like regret. He stood there for a second, unsure, then started walking toward me, slow like his legs weren't sure if they were allowed to. Joshua, I didn't expect to see you here. Didn't expect you'd want to, I replied. He glanced toward the empty lane beside him. Would you play around? Could have said no. Could have walked out and never looked back. But I didn't. I nodded once. We bowled. Not a word at first. Just the sound of pins crashing or, in his case, missing. I was nailing strikes. He was barely hitting anything. Every roll felt like a silent reminder of how far apart we'd grown. Eventually, he spoke. Quiet, like the words hurt on the way out. Everything's gone, you know? The house. The cars. Your mother's staying with Carol. We lost it all. I know. I thought we'd be okay. I thought you'd always be there. Because you used me, I said flatly. He didn't argue. I did, he said, voice cracking. And I'm sorry. I failed you. Failed all of us. A bitter laugh slipped from me. You think an apology rewrites the past? No, he said. But I needed to say it. I was never strong like you. I just acted like I was. Truth is, I hid behind you, and I took too much. I didn't say anything right away. I spent years trying to prove I was good enough for you, I said. But I was never more than your walking wallet. I know, he whispered. His eyes dropped to the ground. I was jealous of you, he added. My own son. Smarter than me. Stronger. And instead of being proud, I tried to take everything you built. Anger swelled in me, but it fizzled just as fast. Because the man sitting beside me wasn't the same one who'd bark orders or make me feel small. He looked like the result of his own choices. Tired, worn, real. Why now? I asked. Why say this now? Because I've got nothing left to hide behind, he said. And because I'm proud of you, Joshua. I always should have been. His words hung in the air. Another crash of pins echoed nearby. I stepped up and rolled. Another strike. The sound thundered, but this Joshua, it felt like a kind of release. I'm not coming back, I said quietly. I know. He reached out, hesitant, shaking, and offered his hand. I stared at it for a long moment. Then finally, I reached out and shook it. His grip was frail, but it was real. I turned and walked toward the exit, the neon lights flickering overhead, the echo of falling pins chasing behind me. I didn't look back. Outside, the air was cool. The city hummed around me. I took a deep breath. And for the first Joshua in a long, long while, I wasn't angry. I wasn't carrying anyone else's weight. I wasn't waiting for the next storm. I was just free.